I never used to believe in missing person stories. The internet makes everything sound bigger than it is, and I figured most of those cases had simple explanations. That changed the night I started working part-time at a remote logistics checkpoint outside a quiet industrial stretch near the edge of the city. The job was simple: log incoming delivery trucks, verify IDs, and monitor the security feed. The place itself felt abandoned most nights. Long fences, empty warehouses, and a road that stretched so far you could watch headlights disappear into nothing. On my third week, I noticed a pattern. Every few nights, a truck would arrive that wasn't on the schedule. No company name I recognized, no return logs, just a driver who looked tired, silent, and eager to leave quickly. I asked my supervisor about it once. He shrugged and said, "Just do your job. Don't ask extra questions." That should have been my first warning. The first real incident happened on a rainy Tuesday. A truck arrived at 2:13 a.m. No license plate in the system. The driver handed me a laminated ID that felt too clean, too new, like it had been printed an hour ago. When I checked the security monitor, I noticed something worse. The truck had arrived alone, but on the feed from the rear gate, there was a second vehicle following it. No headlights, no registration, just a shape in the rain that vanished the moment I tried to zoom in.
I stepped outside the booth to get a better look, the rain hitting my uniform instantly, cold enough to sting. The truck idled near the gate, engine low and uneven, like it was struggling to stay alive. The driver didn't look at me when I approached. He just said, "Hurry it up." His voice was flat, no emotion, no patience. I asked him where the delivery was coming from, and he pointed at the paperwork without speaking. That's when I noticed something strange. The paper had no origin address, just a destination code repeated over and over. Behind him, I thought I saw movement inside the cargo container. Not shifting cargo, something more like repositioning. Like something inside was aware it had arrived. I told myself it was exhaustion messing with my head. But when I scanned the truck into the system, the entire terminal glitched for a full 3 seconds. Every screen went black, then flashed a single line. Unregistered load detected. When I looked back up, the truck door was slightly open. The driver was gone. I radioed for backup, but the response came in broken static, the kind that makes you question whether anyone is even listening on the other end. I walked around the truck slowly, flashlight shaking in my hand. The rear container latch was hanging loose. That's when I heard it. A sound from inside. Not a bang or a scratch. Something softer. Breathing. I froze. Every instinct told me to step back, but I leaned closer instead, angling the flashlight into the narrow opening. The beam revealed stacked crates, but they weren't packed properly. They were open, empty, like something had been removed in a hurry. Then I saw footprints, fresh ones, barely visible in the dust inside the container. They didn't belong to the driver. I ran back inside the booth and locked the door, heart pounding so hard I could feel it in my throat. The monitors were no longer showing live footage. They were looping moments I hadn't even lived yet. On one screen, I saw myself standing outside the truck, but I wasn't there anymore. Something else was. It looked like me from behind, but wrong. stood exactly where I had been moments before, staring at the truck like it was waiting for permission. Then it turned its head toward the camera and smiled. I backed away so fast I knocked my chair over. The lights in the booth flickered violently, and every monitor switched to the same message. Transfer in progress. The door handle outside slowly began to move. Not violently, patiently. Like whoever was on the other side already knew I wasn't going anywhere.
I don't remember deciding to run. I just remember the door finally giving way and the sound of wet boots stepping inside without hesitation. I didn't look back when I escaped into the rain. I just followed the fence line, slipping through mud and gravel, the industrial site stretching endlessly in every direction. Behind me, the booth lights went out, one by one. But the worst part wasn't the silence. It was the radio in my pocket. It turned itself back on. And this time, it wasn't static. It was my own voice again. Calm, controlled, saying, "You can't leave until the log is complete." I stopped running. And in that moment, I saw headlights ahead on the road. Another truck pulling in. Same model, same silence, same missing plate. And I understood something I still can't explain. This wasn't the first shift. It was just the next one.
I didn't go home that night. I didn't go anywhere near that place again. But I kept hearing it. The radio voice. Sometimes through my phone, sometimes through other devices that shouldn't have been connected. A week later, a news report mentioned temporary staffing shortages at multiple logistics checkpoints in the region. No details, no names, just missing workers. I tried to convince myself it was unrelated. Then I got a message on my personal email. No sender, no subject, just a single attachment.
I stopped answering unknown calls after that, but they didn't stop calling me. Every time I picked up by accident, there was only silence for a few seconds before a familiar voice spoke. Always mine, but slightly delayed, like it was being replayed from somewhere else. "You're late for your shift." I changed my number twice. It didn't matter. One night, I woke up at exactly 2:13 a.m. My phone screen was already on. A notification was waiting. New assignment. Industrial Checkpoint B. The address was mine. And outside my window, I could hear a truck idling.
I didn't open the door. I sat there until sunrise, listening to the engine outside never shut off. When I finally looked, the road was empty. No tire tracks, no sign anything had been there. Except for one thing. A clipboard resting on my doorstep. On it was a printed log sheet, half filled out, with my name already signed at the bottom. I tried to report it, but no office had any record of my employment. Not the company, not the checkpoint, nothing. It was like the place never existed, except I knew it did, because I still had the uniform, folded neatly on my chair, dry, like it had never been worn in the rain. And inside the pocket was a key card, labeled Shift Continuation.
I didn't go back. Not at first. But the problem with something that doesn't let you leave is that it doesn't need you to come back willingly. It just waits until you're already there. And now every time I close my eyes, I see headlights in the rain and a gate opening just wide enough for something to come through, waiting for me to log it in.